Welcome. We ain't afraid of no ghosts. This is your number one podcast for ghoulies and ghosties and long-legged beasties. Bringing you everything you need to know about things that go bump in the night and interviewing the personalities behind them. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. Now, here are your hosts, your ghost hosts, Scott and Julie.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the show tonight. We're so glad to have you with us. Hi, Julie. How are you? I hope you're having a great Wednesday.
I'm good, Scott. How you doing?
Doing okay.
Good. Hope everyone had a great and safe Halloween.
Yes. Nicholas complained the day after. He had a great night, was with his friends, but he didn't get enough candy, so he wanted to know if I was going to fix it for him today when he woke up. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he's forgotten about that before we get home.
Well, Scott, I didn't get any candy either. What are you going to do for me?
I'll make it up to you.
All right. Thank you.
So people have asked how they can go back and watch previous editions of the show. And of course, we broadcast it live on Facebook, and KGRA has it because they produce our show. But we are the Paranormal Project Radio Show on YouTube. Now, YouTube has come out with something brand new. If you want to find us on YouTube, all you have to do is go to the search bar. Excuse me. Go to the search bar and search for the @ sign, like, at an email, like @ sign Paranormal Project Radio.
Ampersand
Paranormal Project Radio, and we will pop right up. So their new thing now, they call them handles. And our handle is the & Paranormal Project Radio. And if you go there, we've got 50 to 60 videos that you can watch. Some of them are readings that I've done. Some of them are investigations that you and I have done together. And some of them are our shows that we do every single week. So we'd love it if you'd go on the Paranormal Project Radio Show on YouTube @ Paranormal Project. Give us a like and a share. Subscribe to our channel. So we've got some great things coming up over the next. We're booked out until March with some amazing guests we've got coming in. Yeah, and you won't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
we've been very lucky that the paranormal community has certainly embraced us in our show.
We really have.
We are very grateful to them, to all our friends out there. Yes.
For sure. Let's talk about who we have on the show today. Now, this is the second time James has been on our show. James Annitto is a demonologist. He is the founder of Dominion Ministries, and I really, I've not had a chance to really sit down and talk to him about this since, and I know he founded it before, kind of came back to it. He was one half of Duo Daemonologie with Carl Johnson. People know the name Carl Johnson. And now he's blossomed, and he's kind of doing his thing, and he's doing events, and he's talking and doing lectures, and he's traveling to Romania with Maria from a Mysterious Adventures Tours. Just, I think, Saturday they leave. So we got a lot to talk about with James. Should we bring him out, Chanel? Hey, James, how are you, my friend?
How you doing?
Good to see you.
Hi, James.
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on again. If you hear me crying, I swear I didn't kidnap any children.
So how does your son like having a little brother? Is that a good thing?
Yeah, no, he loves them. He of course still is building his core memory and his core brain function. So
right.
He's a little bit wild around him. Like, he wants to have like pillow fights and climb trees with him. But other than that, he adores him and loves him. And I love the way he looks at him. It tingles my heartstrings.
Oh, that's so sweet.
A little miracle, it's fantastic.
Yeah, you have two beautiful boys. You're very lucky man.
Yeah. So you're leaving Saturday. How long is that trip for? You're going with Maria Schmidt from Mysterious Adventures Tours. You're going to Romania.
Yes, I am. So I have, first of all, I got to give a shout out to St. Beltrusis. I'm one of the headliners for Mass Paracon and Concord Colonial Inn.
Nice.
And then from Mass Paracon, from Concord, I will travel to Boston and be flying to Romania. It is a 12-hour flight. I get the first stop in Istanbul, Turkey, and then from Istanbul go to Bucharest.
Wow. So that's Saturday night, and you're at the Paracon on Saturday during the day.
Yeah, I'm speaking at, and then from there I will be traveling to Logan to head on a 12-hour flight.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
have my ticket.
I get to Romania. I get to Romania, which is weird. We go 6 hours in the future. I'll be in Romania at Sunday at 8 p.m.
So you're going to be a time traveler this weekend.
I'm going to be a time traveler this weekend. So.
Yep. But I'm looking forward to seeing you in Concord this Saturday.
Yeah, I can't wait as well, Julie. It's going to be a fun event. Mass Paracon every year. I've had the thanks to be part of it every year, past few years, and it's a great event for sure. And it's a nice place as well. I love Concord. I love Lexington. I think it's everybody talks about Gettysburg, but Concord and Lexington is still my Minuteman National Park's one of my favorite locations. So it should be a great place.
It's the first one. I mean, this is where it all started. It was right here, really, long before the Civil War.
Yeah, for sure.
All of that came together. So is this the first time the Paracon's been at the Concord Inn? Because I know Sam has been there. He's been doing some writing and some other stuff.
Yeah, he wrote some stuff on it. He worked there for a while, but this is the first time. So Mass Paracon switches every year. It's a destination. 1 year was Provincetown. 1 year it was in the Berkshires, Massachusetts section of it. And then it was, I forget the other locations, but that was Lenox, Massachusetts. But he's had different areas, different years. Yeah. And it's great because it's not like it's the same place. It's a pop-up location every year. And I think that's what makes it interesting. It doesn't become stale.
Yeah, that is nice. And, too, if you live out in the western part of the state, you're not always feeling like you got to drive out this way. So it comes to you a little bit. I love that.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
hope it's a huge success. I wish I was able to attend, and I am so close, really, to Lexington. What am I, 15 minutes maybe? Or Concord, rather. I'm only like 15, 20 minutes at the most. And I'm working all day long, unfortunately. I still do.
That darn day job.
Yeah, it's no fun.
So it pays the bills for our paranormal experiences, right?
It sure is.
I remember the day. Yep.
Yeah, rub it in, being retired.
I'll say it again. Happy retirement as of February, right here.
No, can you get rid of her, please? I think I'm tired of listening.
Hey, Julie, I will let Celine know.
I'm retired.
James,
and full-time investigator now.
That's it. Good for you. James, are you traveling with C.L. Thomas, Crystal? Is she going to Romania?
Yeah, I got Crystal on board with the Romania trip. Me and Crystal are very great friends. I wrote the foreword of her upcoming book that is coming out, I believe, in December. So, Crystal and I are really good friends.
Yeah, Crystal, I was on her show a while back.
Yeah, it was a great show.
And then she's coming on our show. I don't, it could be December, could be January. I don't remember yet. But so she and I just kind of connected, and we've been chatting, and she happened to mention to me that was going to Romania, so I assumed it was with you, which is
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you guys.
And then Raven too, that just commented. Raven as well is going to Romania. I got her.
Raven's going. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I sold her into it so I was just in Arizona a couple of weekends ago for Vulture City Paracon, and Raven jumped at the opportunity, and don't blame her because this is a bucket list location. This tour is phenomenal. You guys went on with Maria, but Romania is a destination for many people in this field, of many castles, and of course one of the big things of it being the Suicide Forest, and a lot of Strigoi, which vampire legends and witch legends as well. So for everybody that jumped on board on this, it's a trip of a lifetime, and
really
it's cheaper than going to Disney World. That's how I look at it.
Well, that's not saying much.
That's so many things that you're right.
Disney World is crazy.
I would rather go to Romania than Disney World.
Yeah,
honestly, we're going to call Maria's trips adult Disney World trips, basically.
Yeah.
If you're into the paranormal, that's basically what it is. That's what she offers.
Does she still have a few spots open?
For Romania?
Yeah.
People probably can sign up. I think the deadline was today, actually.
Oh, was the deadline today? I knew she had a few spots, and I was thinking, because she has that whole Afterpay thing, right? You know what I mean?
12 months, man.
12
Yeah, 12
months, and you can just sign up and go. If you're interested, check out
I'm pretty sure she'll open the slot up last minute. I'm pretty sure from what my flight was for Turkish Airlines, it's a huge damn plane. It's one of the big air. I think it's one of the A380 Airbuses. So from the last time I checked, there's still a bunch of seats on the damn thing. So I'm pretty sure if you want to go, I'll tell you my flight number and or my luggage. I have my duffel bag and cut you up a little bit.
I'll bet you the flights, to book it now though, to go to Romania would be outrageous, I would think.
Yeah, well, probably. Yeah, like my flight was for to the Bucharest was only $700 to be honest with you. Yeah, it was wicked cheap.
That's not bad at all.
No, wicked cheap. Yeah, round trip.
Considering what we paid to go to Scotland. I was looking at England for February, and it was under $700 to go to England in February. Yeah. I mean, it's not the best time of the year to go, but
I really want it. The Romania trip is exciting for me because I've been making a sick joke, and I keep saying I wish no ill will for this, but I want to go there before, for some reason, Romania doesn't exist within the next couple of months.
I hope you're wrong. I hope that's wrong, but
I hope it is too. I pray it is, but I'm a little nervous because Moldova. There is a country, Moldova, that definitely splits Ukraine and Romania, but it is darn close to an ongoing war right now, and I've tried to alleviate some people say, we're there together, let's stay strong. But, that is on the back of my brain, especially with what they've been talking about lately, Russia. So that's only my, hey, it is what it is. If it's
you'll be okay. You will be okay. I mean, I'm confident, but I think it's normal to kind of have that.
Oh yeah, of course. Those reservations. We especially I was in the Army, and I'd never seen active combat. I wasn't long enough to do so, but still, so it doesn't concern me, but still it's weird. It's weird you're so close to, and you know what? I wonder too, and what's fascinating as well with us being there and investigating, is that going to kind of increase some sort of vibrations there, negatively, because there is a war so close? Are we going to have a little bit more communication activity because of what's going on not too far from where we're going to be? That's what's fascinating as well, to see if that has any kind of echoes in the ethos.
Do you have investigations planned? I mean, I'm sure you must. Where are you going?
We're one of the first few of international groups that have been able or will be able to investigate Vlad Tepes' birth home, which is Vlad the Impaler's birth home. So that's pretty cool in itself. There's only been a few other groups that have ever done it in the lifetime of Romania that are international. So that's pretty cool. We're going to get to have a vampire ball / dinner at the Braun Castle, which to me is fantastic. And I'm pretty sure we'll be able to kind of do a little bit more dabbling, investigating here or there. But, I'm interested in the suicide forest too, to see what lingers, if any, lost souls. Because my next big trip that I am telling people that I'm going to make happen is Japan, and I want to go to Ekigahara Forest. So, I want to see,
which is also known as a suicide forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I really didn't know that Romania, when you were saying suicide forest, I was thinking, isn't that in Japan? I didn't realize that.
I can't think of the name off the top of my head. That's how much of a good tour guide I am. But I've just had so much. I have a lot of reading up to do before I go to Romania this weekend.
Oh yeah, but I think and of course, but I'm thinking that they do have a suicide forest there.
Yeah.
Then, or I didn't know that. Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, it's in Romania. It is Hoia Baciu Forest. That's what it's called.
Forest. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, interesting. And do you know how long it's been considered the suicide forest?
Not necessarily. I believe they so when Ghost Adventures went to Romania, to Transylvania, it was one of the locations that they investigated. Give me a second, sorry.
No worries.
cast out those evil spirits in the other room. Poor
Those
James.
6-month-olds,
Oh my God, I know. This is why I get away to work. I have my little studio here, so I don't
right.
hearing
Dad
that.
on duty.
Well, she has them right next to the door, so I don't know why, but
Trust me, you don't apologize. I feel your pain.
Right.
I get away just because I would have that too. He'd be in here. Can I be on TV? Can I be on TV?
Or not just that. I mean, they pick the worst time in the world.
Yeah.
I remember my daughter was probably about maybe a year old. First time I took her to McDonald's with my friend whose kids were 7 and 8. And of course, Caitlin couldn't eat at McDonald's, but they had a little playland.
Yeah.
So it was time to go. And she was on the little merry-go-round and my friend's boys were pushing her around and she didn't want to go. Literally, I mean, it was like the first time I was embarrassed as a mother. And I had to tuck her under my arm and walk out as she's screaming, no. I remember saying to my friend, I am humiliated. And she said, anyone who's going to say anything has never been a parent.
Oh, of
We've
course.
all
Yeah,
been there. That's the moral of the story. We've all been there.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. No, I was more aggravated that the baby was. I wouldn't want the baby to be crying, but there's other places the baby can be crying.
Other than right outside your door.
Oh
my gosh.
So.
No worries, James. I want to talk to you. Now we met. Oh, well, I forget when it was. You were on the USS Salem, and then a few weeks later, Julie and I drove to Ohio, and we met you at the Blair House, which, by the way, is for sale if anybody's interested in buying a haunted house.
Yes.
I just saw that yesterday.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, you get your retirement money if you want to. You were looking
No,
for a job.
that's perfectly okay.
I would definitely go nowhere near that property ever again, nor near that area. I've been there many times, but that wasn't a great event for me. I'll just say that.
And it wasn't paranormal at all. It was what took place outside with a group of local young men who showed up with golf clubs and decided that they were going to break into the haunted house while we were in there.
There's a lot of drama that came from that, and I'd rather, unfortunately, not talk about that location at all, to be honest with you. So.
But
no worries.
It was great seeing you guys there, but it wasn't a great weekend.
I put it out of my mind.
Yes.
But that's when we were talking about Dominion Ministries. I mean, it was right around that time that all of this was coming back for you. It was right around that moment. What brought that about? And I mean, it seemed like all of a sudden now you've got people all over the place that are part of this organization.
Yeah. So, when I once founded the ministry back in 2015, if I remember correctly, if that was it, basically, we had probably 42 states covered in the country, and then we had some international locations as well. And it was a thriving organization that I founded and had a lot of people associated with. We had a lot of affiliate teams. And really the biggest reason that I separated myself, and it kind of was chugging along still at a very sluggish pace when I left, and really had demoralized because I won't say the lack of leadership, but there are people that were leading it, still part of it now, that I really respect and love. And they just, had other things going on. It's tough to run an organization that big. It really is, unless you have a background like myself. I'm nothing special, but I have a business degree. I have the tenacity. I have the energy with my ADHD to focus and be definitely a multitasker. So basically, when I joined seminary for the United States Old Catholic Church, I had to separate from the Dominion ministry because I could not focus on the paranormal or spiritual warfare while I was a seminarian, because for one, I have to focus on my studies. And if I'm not focusing on my studies, then I'm not doing what I'm meant to do to become a clergy member. So I had to separate per my presiding bishop's authority to focus on seminary. And I had to even separate from the paranormal for quite a long time. Well, not quite a long time, but enough time. And basically, I had to leave it. And, throughout the many years, there was always like it's like my child crying. I want to make sure he was all right, but also why is he outside the door? But at the same time, I want to, in the same tone, I felt like my baby was missing. I created this thing, and it crawled, it ran, it walked, and then eventually it fell. And there was always that kind of lingering feeling that I let it fail, and basically wanted to go back to it. But before I did, I was, Scott had said in the intro, I was part of Duo Daemonologie that I founded alongside Carl Johnson, and did that for quite a few years, and then kind of still felt lost. Like Duo Daemonologie wasn't what I was meant to do, and I basically came back and reformed the Demon Ministry with former members, and then as well opened the doors for new members. So it's been an on and off thing, and really kind of struggled within my mind of, do I want to do this again? Because it takes a lot of time. Like I dedicated a lot of time up in the upstart of it. I've been so busy where I've been a lot of the back doors again, and when my schedule kind of levels, then I will be dedicating more time to it again. But I'm just such a busy person that, it is a struggle running such an organization. But at the same time, it's not exactly where I was when it was back in 2016, 2015, or 2017. But it will get there. We're in the crawling stage again. And this time I'm taking my time building and structuring this, then letting it be 0 to 60 seconds like it was the first time. Because I really burnt myself out the first time. I was doing so much. I was sponsoring events, traveling the whole country, doing cases throughout the whole country off my own dime. And it just really, really was absurdity on my part. But no, yeah, I'm glad to be back with the ministry. I'm glad people have joined and come aboard again, like a beacon of light it is. And we have helped many people so far already with getting the right people into locations, which is why the ministry was created. I don't want wrongdoers, people that are going to claim certain specific things that are not there into these locations. I want to help people. I want to do it free of charge, and I want to give the best advice that we can give, or give multiple pieces of perspective to help somebody. And it does that, and I'm a proud parent.
Oh, absolutely. And you should be. And when you invited me and Scott to come aboard, honestly, we had a long discussion about it. And we had decided that was the route that we wanted to take, that after meeting you, you were a very solid, very solid man, sincere man, very truthful. And I felt as though you were someone that was in this and doing this because you truly wanted to help people.
Yeah.
It's kind of, to me, it seems as though helping others is your mission in life.
Yeah.
And
I do a lot of events, Julie, and a lot of people always point at that, but I always say, how do people, and I mark the ministry as well, the thing is like, how do people know who you are or know about your organization if you don't get it out? Grassroots is the best way, but promotion is as another way, even though it's not for profit and none of that stuff. How do people know who to go to if they don't know who you are or know what your organization is about? And doing these events and these pop-up public investigations, talking and showing people how to maybe properly investigate, it is tools necessary for people to grasp onto, to help people and not jump to the wrong conclusions or jump to the wrong techniques. But yeah, no, you guys were a phenomenal addition with your abilities and with your prowess in investigating. And for all the other people that are on board too, everybody has a piece of the puzzle while they're on this. What they bring to the table, what their backgrounds and experiences are, what kind of background they have, and out of the paranormal and vocational aspect or a career aspect, like a psychiatrist or a sound technician, nurses, and the list goes on and on of the people that are associated with this that have
excuse me,
so many different assets to why they're involved.
Exactly. And one thing I like about the mission is that we all respect everyone's talent and gift. And there's no infighting, which we know can happen sometimes. I've always felt when talking to someone at the ministry, and I've always felt respected. And my gift has always felt respected. And I honestly think that is just so important.
Yeah, and it is like a family unit. We have our bickering. You've seen it. It's nothing's perfect. People feel sometimes targeted, and we all come from different backgrounds. We have all different belief systems in this organization, so there are going to be misunderstandings sometimes. But the one thing that we always do is we get over that hurdle, and we don't linger on it, and we understand what the mission is. It's not about ourselves. It's not about our ego. It's not about my belief, your belief. It's about the person that calls us and says, my family is being attacked.
You're there for the client.
What's going on? My children are being attacked. And that's what matters at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Looks like Scott is back. I know he's been having some technical difficulties. Again, oh my goodness. Thought it was ironed out.
That's good.
I have like the fastest I've got like the fastest internet speed. I made sure my upload speeds were great. I've got everything shut off of the computer, and it still cuts out.
Oh my goodness. Oh gosh.
I don't know.
Well, we were just talking about the ministry and how you and I were actually honored that James had invited us, and how we had a long talk about it and decided that was the route that we had wanted to go, because we knew that our gifts as what we do as my empath and as your connection with spirit would be something that would be honored by the group itself. And so we're just kind of chatting about that a little bit, and the mission of the ministry, and basically that we're there for the client, not for anybody's ego, but we're there for the client, which is one of the reasons why, Scott, you and I decided that we wanted to join.
Well, and I love that they're so accepting. And when I say they, I mean the group, right? You're accepting of all different. You've got all kinds of people that come through, from paranormal investigators, you have demonologists, you have mediums, and the fact that everybody's sort of working together for the same thing is a really great.
Yeah, we have witches, we have a psychologist, we have nurses, we have a plethora of people, like I was saying, Julie, before you came on. It's just insane, like when the first edition of it, or the first piece of the ministry that happened, it was crazy how many people jumped on board. Now there were organizations that existed before the ministry, and some similarity, but the ministry has kind of really led a push towards a lot of these organizations being around now. And it's crazy to think that it was the accessibility of this idea of common people working together and creating like an echo or towards other people was very fascinating to me. Like it is a great honor to say that I'm one of the people that pushed that forward, but it's also in the same way that I always feel like people working together or rowing the same boat together, or driving in the same motor vehicle together, or whatever analogy you want to damn use. Group effort is the best effort, a team effort, teamwork makes the dream work, so it's what's important.
Well, and everybody has their specialty, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about what you do. I mean, so the demonology part of it, what does that really entail? And now I know, I mean, we've talked about this before. You're not casting out demons. I mean, you would bring somebody else in.
Yeah.
You're not an exorcist, right? So what do you do?
So yeah, well, a demonologist is basically an individual that studies the lores and the cultural traditions of wicked spirits, or in what you would read online at Webster's or Google Dictionary is an individual that studies demons and the demonic lore. But in reality, what I would be called an applied demonologist. I take that literature, that study, theology, and I look at these characteristics, these other belief systems, what people have experienced, and I go out and look at physical cases or speak to people that maybe be dealing with something that I can take my case history with, and what I've read, what I've learned from other people, and I can assess what negative situations or misunderstood situations these people are dealing with. And I, of course, as a demonologist, have not just studied theology. I'm a psychology major. I have a parapsychology background. Work with PPRI, which is a parapsychology group at New England and Canada, led by 2 doctors of social sciences. You know, I have my feet. I've worked with MUFON. I've worked with cryptozoologists and zoologists. I've worked with a handful of people and assimilated a lot of my paranormal experiences into demonology. And of course, anthropology and sociology. I mix all of that and use it into the form of being a demonologist, because when I go into people's houses, I'm dealing with different people, different family units, different environments, different belief systems, different levels of haunting, different ideologies, different careers. So many different things that I go into when I go into an environment and deal with people. And I'm looking at all these avenues and these traits and these personalities, and I try to assess what is actually going on. And in the sense of it being demonic, it is very rare, but that's what a demonologist is. You know, I am more of an eclectic demonologist in the sense that I look at it in a big scope than just being a religious demonologist and centering it just on Christianity. Yes, I am a deacon and I do ministry work. But yeah, as you said, Scott, I basically would assess, gather a case file, the data. I would, if people are claiming possession, I'd get them involved with a psychiatrist, a psychologist to get a psychological evaluation, have a physical done by a primary care physician, and gather all this, hand it to a bishop or a local church or diocese of the Roman Catholic Church, or another specific church like the Anglican Church, or somebody that has an exorcist that I respect or know of, or is referred to me by maybe another exorcist or a clergy member. And then I will give them that information. They will get their exorcist involved, either probably the presiding bishop or bishop will, of course, approve it or not. But because I am a deacon, and before I was a deacon, I was an ordained minister of the Church of Christ, where I was primarily a deliverance minister. There are times where if it is like a demonic infestation or a negative spirit, or maybe even just a crossing over, those are certain things that I can do, and what people would say cast out. But if it's possession and needs the solemn rite of exorcism, that is not what I do. I'm not an exorcist, but I can do minor things and have performed minor exorcisms and have done these things that maybe can alleviate an issue, so where an exorcist doesn't have to come involved. But that's not the demonology side of it. That's my ministry work involved in understanding the demonology side of it. I join them and put them together, while there are demonologists out there that maybe will say prayers over a location as a temporary fix, but a lot of demonologists aren't of clergy like myself. Like I said, I'm ordained with the USOCC, the United States Catholic Church. And to answer that question from Kathy, does James know Bishop Long? Yes, well, he's my presiding bishop, so I know him very well. So yes, I do know Bishop Long, and he is one of my mentors. and as well a great friend.
So
James, as I understand possession,
Yes.
it doesn't start out as somebody becomes possessed. My understanding is it's very subtle in the beginning, and then it turns into obsession, where the person usually doesn't want to leave the place, usually the home where the entity resides. And then it can move into possession and infestation. So you would be able to come in maybe at that point, first off to identify it. And then you would be able to possibly help them if they're at the beginning stages, let's say at the obsession stage.
Yeah, so it goes infestation, oppression, and then possession. Within the oppression stage, there could be the level called obsession. But infestation is where it starts at. And I can deal with it all the way to the oppression obsession stage. Anything after that, my involvement can be involved with understanding the case and dealing with the individual. But then usually I then will have enough data to say, hey, this person averts from religious iconography, they speak in tongues, they have physical or tone changes that is inhuman, and then I can say, hey, this is this. In an emergency situation, if the person goes into a transient state, then I might have to do something like a deliverance or a prayer over somebody. Have done this as well before in the past, because you don't want to leave this person in that trance or episodic state and then leave, and then they do something very dangerous to their loved ones or go out, which there has been records of this happening. So there's sometimes I have to be more than just the mediator. I have to be the person that annoys and creates action, but that's not my role. And so infestation is where the demonic will come in. Usually the reasoning is very difficult to really kind of assess why. There are certain levels, maybe wrong place, wrong time. They dabble in the occult. They may be the paranormal investigators, maybe some level of trauma, kind of laws of attraction kind of pulled this being that was nearby and sensed this person's trauma, and they become infested, like a rat infestation. They permeate within the grounds. They look for their target. Doesn't necessarily mean be the person with the trauma. It could be somebody that is, of course, more feeble-minded or less mentally stronger than that individual at first sense. So it will infest in the sense that it really doesn't come off negatively. It will come off benevolently. It will come off in the sense that it is a loved one or just a lost spirit or a child. It will make you put your guard down. And then when you put your guard down is when that person, whoever is, of course, more willing to do so, more gullible, imaginative, or weak-minded, whatever word you want to use for the individual that unfortunately deals with this, is that they open that line of communication. Then that is the target. So that person starts, and it could be multiple targets in infestation. Then the person or people that open that line of communication start to be oppressed. And this is when the entity starts telling them they're not good enough. God's not good. They start 180ing from their personality. So if they're outgoing, they're going to be inward and be inclusive to their homes, seclude from people. They're not going to be communicative anymore. They're going to not go to church. There's so many things they'll do if they never drank or smoke. They might start getting involved in addiction, like vices such as smoking, drinking, doing other heavy drugs. And then basically how the oppression goes into possession is the person that maybe is the more oppressed will eventually break down. Their free will will become demoralized. Their faith becomes demoralized. And basically, there's some notion of giving up. either verbally, mentally, or spiritually. And basically, that is when the demonic entity then will go from the oppression to possession stage, because now that person's wall is down, and now they are able to control that person, able to push their consciousness out and control that body, that physical body. And basically, there's two stages of possession, and the most common is transient. And why it's transient, which means come and go, is because the person's not fully gone at that stage, and that free will. There's a spiritual battle that occurs between the consciousnesses of the demonic entity and person. And sometimes when the demonic entity is pushed out by the person's ability to fight, then the person regains the control of their body. And then when they lose that battle again, and demonic entity comes on, or if it's invoked, and like maybe like an exorcism or deliverance, sometimes when the entity is invoked to come into the person to communicate, or to acknowledge the holy man or other individual that's performing the exorcism. But so that battle's still there. Now, where it gets really kind of nasty, and this is very, very, very rare. I've never come across it, but there have been stories like Annitto Mikkel, maybe that definitely dealt with a perfect possession or full possession, is when that person is in the state, like I like to say, the vegetable state, where, you know, if you had a seizure and your consciousness never can control back, and that person's just on breathing tubes and being fed through a tube, that basically that person is no longer there, and the demonic entity has free roam of that person. And usually what'll happen, even in possession, the body starts to deteriorate because, the stress, the anxiety, your body starting to kind of wither away from the inside, from this evil nature that's involved in your body. But in perfect or full possession, the body will deteriorate fast. As like in Annitto Mikkel's situation, she died of malnutrition. She wasn't able to intake food or water anymore, because what I believe, and some people will argue this, but what I believe is that the demonic entity that had possessed her would no longer allow her natural body to consume anymore, and it eventually killed her. So that is the stages of demonic haunting. And then there's obsession, where, of course, if you can understand what obsession is, and by the definition, people are want it to happen, or are into the occult, and there's that obsession stage where they become very obsessive about the demonic entity being a part of their life. And you will hear in some of the cases that even in normal cases like negative hauntings or regular hauntings, people that have abilities, they become so inundated to it, because if a demonic entity becomes one with a person, their senses become heightened. They're able to maybe have thought abilities of precognition, and other abilities. So that person sometimes becomes so inundated to it that they don't want it to go either, because they love these heightened abilities. They feel more powerful and less than they used to.
James, I have a couple of questions, and because I think this is fascinating. Well, number one, do people who are in that state know they're in that state? So if you're becoming obsessed or heading into full on possession, do they know it?
No.
Or it's other people that see it, and so helping them could be even more challenging if they don't understand that they need help.
Yeah, it's always usually it's always an outsider, a family, a friend, maybe a bystander that feels weird around an individual and might seek out help. But yeah, it's always usually 99% of the time it's outside influence. There could be that 1 in 10%, 1 in 10 chance that the person might come and realize that something is not physical or medical, or psychological, and they might reach out saying, I'm dealing with this issue. But even if somebody is being possessed, right, one of the common things for these people is time loss, and they don't realize why they lost time. Well, of course, if you realize what I said, their consciousness gets pushed out, the demonic entity gains control of them. they're not going to remember what's going on, because guess what? They don't have that brain function right now. They're not in control of what is being processed because of that consciousness being pushed out. So when time loss happens, they're confused why it happens. They're not saying, oh, well, the demon took me over.
Right.
That's why I lost time. They really are confused. And when that 180 happens in the impression stage, a lot of times people think it's just bad luck. It's life. They hit their slump, maybe their midlife crisis. And this is very similar to what people sometimes deal with attachments. And, oh, I'm dealing with this bad string of luck. I lost my job, lost my car. And people tend not to jump to the preternatural situation or supernatural occurrences of it, because a lot of people don't necessarily believe that it is what is occurring. So yeah, a lot of people don't believe that is what is going on, and it's always the outsider that it will bring somebody in.
So for someone, obviously you're not aware of what's going on, especially if you're, we talked about the person who wasn't eating, they were on tubes. What is the danger to their soul? I mean, is there any idea, or do people have an idea what happens to the soul when it's been possessed and taken over and then they pass? Is it rescued?
That's a hard discussion. I've heard a lot of different theories. Some become lost, some go to purgatory, some will go to hell, because, one of the things that people don't understand is, if you really understand in the sense of Christianity, where if you believe that you lost your faith for the demonic to come into you, then you lost your faith in power of what God is, right? So a lot of people would say that because you withered away from your faith in God, that you have no ability to go to heaven and be with God because you lost that faith. You turned your back on God for this to happen. So there's that argument that I understand, I hear. I don't necessarily know. I think that's the big to know of that section. It's like saying, where do we actually go after life, after death? There are some people, you speak to spirit, other people speak to spirit, but there's one thing that we always hear, that there's really no clear answer. Some say it's a good place, or it's a place of light, but there's really no true definition of where they go or what actually they experience, or how that energy becomes a certain different level of matter. So really it's up to speculation. I don't think that if God did exist and omnipotent, omnipresent, and was as good as I believe God to be, and that's my terminology for God. Other people have different names, but if God did exist, then I think that he would understand. And I say he lightly. God's not a he. It's not no gender involved. But if God did exist, then I think he would be understanding that this person had a moment in their life. And really depends. Like if they were diabolical in nature, where they were evil, then of course I could agree. If they were evil, they dealt with their cult, they called for this, they summoned it, they invoked it, then I could see maybe they would go to the bad place. If there was a place called hell that really existed, then I could see that. But if they were a good person, they dealt with trauma, they succumbed to this trauma, and this thing took them over, then I really would hate to swallow that they would go to the bad place, because they were just weak-minded. And this can be biological. This could be genetically why they were to this level. And I'm, like I said, I'm a big component of psychology, epigenetics, and I think that sometimes trauma happens from conception, and from within the womb. So, which is all current leading studies in psychology and social science. So I think sometimes right out the gate we're weakened, and I don't think that's our fault. So to say, so I don't know where we would go. It's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, and it's a tough answer to give, especially
nobody can really answer, because we've never been there. We don't. It's I didn't know if there was a teaching, and I.
No, yeah. Well, there is teachings, but I'm so open. I can't say this is what I believe in. I do believe in a higher power, but what higher power is, is debatable. Theology is debatable.
Right.
Science is debatable. But I do know something exists. I do know we go somewhere. I do know diabolical evil and evil people exist. So it exists, but how it occurs, why it occurs, where we go, that's the big question. I think that
James and Julie, we have about 4 minutes, so I just want to. I can't believe
we need 4 hours, Scott.
We'll have to do a part 2 next year. But James, I just want to give you a couple of minutes to just, if people want to find out about the ministries, find out about what you got going on, because you do a lot more than that too. I mean, you're all over the place. So,
of course, yeah. So jamesannitto.com, James Annitto on Instagram, Facebook. The dominionministry.org. The website still needs to be built. When I have a moment of time, I will build the website. People will have bios, pictures, but we have a Facebook page and Instagram, the Dominion Ministry. You can see where our members are, where they're located. So if you need help near you, please don't hesitate to reach out to the ministry or hesitate to reach out to the members associated. They will help you. I will make sure of it. And I'm going to Romania for the next 2 weeks. So if you're in Europa, and you follow me or follow the ministry, meet up with me. Let's get together, break some bread. But those are some ways. I also give my phone number out. If you abuse it, I abuse you. 401-808-7416.
That's the James we know and love.
But reach out to me if you need help. I'm in the New England area. We'll travel free of charge if you need help. But that's why I have the ministry. So, that's the ways you can reach me. And I have a lot coming up. I have a lot to announce. I have a hell of a lot. I thought I was busy this year, but my next year is already booked from April to freaking November. So I want to be a lot of different places next year. So look forward to that as well.
That's great. James, thank you for coming on the show. It's so interesting. I mean, we really could have done like a 2-hour show on this. It's just fascinating, all of this. And we're all interested. We don't know much about it. I talk to spirit, but even so, it's not like I sit here and talk to you. I can't see where they are. I can't, you know what I mean? We don't get that kind of messaging that way. We just kind of, they give us little bits and pieces and the puzzle and
we're all trying to put it together. We're all working together, trying to put the puzzle together. Yes,
exactly. And we probably have found that answer so many times already, but we're human and we'd like to beat up ourselves and go on to the next different question that maybe we already have found an answer to. But
that's it. So next week we have the Neil Story coming on the show. Do you know Neil, James? Neil Story is a historian from London. Well, he's in England. I don't know if he's actually in London. And he's written, 50 some odd books. He teaches at Cambridge and Oxford. The man is a genius, but
Brilliant.
He's one of the nicest guys and one of the funniest people you'll ever want to meet. And he's done some stuff. He's just finished his latest book on Bram Stoker. So it's really a great show to follow up with this one. And, and he traveled with Maria. We were in Scotland together over the summer. So he's going to be on, and you definitely don't want to miss that. He's going to stay up late because he's going to be way past his bedtime when he comes on the show next week. But he's going to be here. And if anybody knows him, you just have to spend 3 minutes with him and you love him. He's one of the most interesting guys you'll ever want to meet. So join us back here next week. We'll be talking with Neil Story. James, thank you for being here. We've reached the end of the show, my friends.
Thank you, James. I'll see you Saturday.
See you Saturday.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
You have been listening to The Paranormal Project with Scott Allen and Julie Finn. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. While you're there, leave us a rating and review so others can find out about the show. Stay haunted and go out there and explore the paranormal.